The door closes, and for a moment, nothing happens. The house is quiet. Your dog stands in the hallway looking at the door, not moving, not making a sound, just watching the place where you just were. And then the cameras start capturing something that most owners will never see, because by the time you come back, it's already over. The evidence is sometimes there: the chewed corner, the knocked-over chair, the cushion on the wrong side of the room. Sometimes there's nothing visible at all. But the cameras don't lie, and what they've been showing researchers for the last 3 decades is one of the most revealing findings in animal behavior science. Because what happens in that house the second you leave is not what most owners imagine. It's not boredom, it's not mischief, and it's not, as some people prefer to believe, nothing at all. It is a nervous system in crisis, running a program it was never designed to run alone. Let's talk about what the cameras actually show. In 2010, researchers at the University of Milan set up cameras in the homes of 23 dogs and walked out. What they recorded became one of the most cited studies in separation behavior research. Vocalization, barking, whining, howling, began at an average of 3 minutes and 15 seconds after departure. Destructive behavior started within 7 minutes. 7 minutes. That's how long it takes. But here's the finding that changes everything. After that first frantic phase, the barking gradually subsided, and from the outside, if you came home to a quiet house, you'd assume the dog had settled. It hadn't. What the cameras showed was that as vocalization decreased, panting increased, heart rate stayed elevated. The dog had shifted from one expression of distress to a different one. The noise stopped, the physiological activation didn't. And researchers tracking behavior over longer periods found something even more telling. The pattern didn't follow a clean decline. Every 23 to 28 minutes, there was a new spike, a renewed burst of movement or vocalization, followed by a quieter period, then another spike. Not settling, cycling. The silence between those spikes is not calm. It is exhaustion between waves. Now compare that to what cameras capture in dogs without separation issues. Swedish researchers at the University of Agricultural Sciences left a comparison group alone for up to 4 hours. These dogs spent approximately 97% of their time in passive behavior, lying down, resting, occasionally checking the water bowl. Not distressed, not bored, waiting. The difference between those two groups isn't breed, it isn't age, it isn't even primarily genetics. The research points to one variable above almost all others: what the dog has been taught to expect. But before we get to that, let's talk about what happens before you even leave. In the 1980s, veterinary behaviorists documented something that has been confirmed repeatedly since. Dogs with separation anxiety often begin showing measurable stress responses while their owner is still in the house. Not when the door closes, before the bag comes out. Through simple conditioning, dogs learn to chain your entire departure routine backwards. You check your phone, you put on your shoes, you glance at the time. Each of those actions, repeated hundreds of mornings in a row, has become a signal. And the signal means one thing: I'm about to be alone. By the time you reach the door, some dogs are already panting. This is not anxiety about shoes. This is anticipatory dread of an absence that hasn't happened yet, building in real time as your routine unfolds around them. Here's where the research takes a turn that surprises most people. A 2019 study measured long-term cortisol levels in 58 dog owner pairs. Not the cortisol spike of a bad moment, the slow hormonal accumulation over weeks and months captured in hair samples. The levels were synchronized. Stressed owner, stressed dog. Calm owner, calm dog. And when researchers looked at the direction of that relationship, which one was driving the other, the answer was clear. The owner's cortisol was predicting the dog's, not the reverse.
What this means, a dog already carrying a chronically elevated stress baseline doesn't start the separation from neutral, they start it from a deficit. The 8 hours you're gone aren't happening in isolation, they're happening on top of everything that's already accumulated. Now, let's talk about the product industry, because it is enormous, and most of it doesn't work. Pheromone diffusers, calming supplements, anxiety wraps, white noise machines. Most owners have tried at least one. Most will tell you the results were somewhere between modest and nothing. The most rigorous placebo-controlled studies on dog-appeasing pheromone diffusers found no significant improvement in barking, scratching, whining, or heart rate. The television left on shows no measurable effect versus silence. Puzzle toys provide minutes of engagement. For severely anxious dogs, they can backfire entirely. Once the food is gone, the dog registers that you're gone, and the real reaction begins. What does have consistent evidence is something that feels almost absurdly slow. Graduated exposure. Not leaving for 5 minutes and hoping for the best, starting with seconds, walking to the door, coming back in, touching the handle, coming back in, building a history of return so incrementally that the dog's nervous system has no chance to spike. It feels like nothing. Standing at your own front door for 30 seconds and walking back inside doesn't feel like training. But what you're doing isn't teaching obedience. You're providing enough repetitions of the same sequence. You leave, you come back, that the dog's prediction system starts to update. Practitioners who use this approach consistently report the same tipping point. Once a dog can tolerate roughly 40 minutes of absence without distress, progress to 4 or 8 hours tends to follow relatively quickly. The 40-minute mark isn't special, it's just the point at which the dog has accumulated enough evidence to start believing something new, that you always come back. Here's the thing the cameras have been showing us for 30 years that we keep not saying clearly enough. The dogs that struggle most aren't badly trained, they aren't broken, they aren't manipulative. They just haven't yet learned, in their nervous system, not their brain, that the door opening and the door closing are the same event, just in different order. Every single time you come home, you are providing evidence. You left, and then you came back. And the dog's nervous system is slowly updating its model of the world based on that data. The question is just how many repetitions it takes, and whether the ones happening in your absence are teaching the right lesson or the wrong one. So the next time you stand at the door with your keys in your hand, know that your dog is already reading you, already calculating, already beginning the process that will unfold in that house while you're gone. And know that the most powerful thing you can do isn't a supplement or a toy or a diffuser. It's the pattern, the ritual, the same sequence repeated enough times that their nervous system finally accepts what you've been trying to tell them all along. You're coming back. You always come back. If this changed how you see what's happening while you're at work, subscribe and leave a comment below. Does your dog show signs before you've even picked up your keys? And the next video goes deeper into something even more fundamental: why your dog can read your emotional state before you've said a single word. The science behind it will change how you see every interaction you've ever had with them.